on a Uniform Thursday here on the Jordy Culotta Show, right on time. Where's everybody been?
What's up? We've been doing the show for hours.
Live here on this Thursday morning from the UDL. We are coming down the stretch of shows here at the UDL. This might be the second to last one.
Oh, you are putting it out there.
I'm putting it out there, bro.
Putting the pressure on us, baby. I love it.
Putting the pressure on the squad. We're trying to get into the UDL, the noodle, over the weekend.
We've committed to it.
Sorry that we were late this morning. A lot of pre-production stuff that we're explaining and talking about over here to get inside of the noodle this weekend. A lot of people that we're counting on to help us out and get us in. We appreciate you starting your day with us. Remember, hit that like button, share button, comment button. Tons to get to. We're going to start off with Ty G. Hill, the #1 defensive tackle in the state of Louisiana, down at Edna Carr. Inked his papers yesterday. We'll talk to him about the message from Brian Kelly and his staff through this recruiting process, what he expects from this class to 22, and starting to really kind of form up here. Still have the February date. Good sign with Jacoby Matthews. A lot of good things trending in the right direction with the #1 safety in the state.
And the corner, Denver Harris pushed it back.
Denver Harris.
Hey, we're in the ears of some people right now, and it's. I don't think you could have expected anything better than what happened yesterday for us.
Got a little text from Tack yesterday, just with a ... yesterday about 2:30. I said, this must be good news.
Finally, maybe somebody reached out. Maybe you kicked somebody in the ass over there, Culotta.
And then, of course, Herb. The clock has struck midnight, literally, for Herb. He got let go last night at the stroke of 12 o'clock.
Turned into a pumpkin.
The least predictable outcome in the NFL.
You had to know when the kicker was calling you out in the public, you were done. He was cooked when the kicker was going at him, right? I mean, like, and the kicker wasn't like just kind of like saying hearsay. No. He was saying like the guy kicked my foot in the pregame.
Tried to hurt me. That being.
Herb
calling kickers names, has no respect for the specialist.
This is my thing. When he got the job, nobody thought he proved everybody right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, actually, I mean, yeah, he proved everybody right, but it happened way earlier than people anticipated.
He will have no problem finding a college job. I do believe that he will be humbled in the college ranks a little bit by it's not going to be as easy as he thought. Like, don't get me wrong. There's an athletic director out there that is going to find out Urban Meyer is on the market, is going to try to marry him as soon as possible. But his reputation is taking a huge hit.
And here's my thing: is they may want to hire him, and he may go to a huge school, but on the player side of it, nobody's going to want to go play for him anymore.
I mean,
this is out. Even if some of this stuff is not true, which I believe it's all true.
Sure, I do too.
Right?
I think it's worse than what's reported.
You know, but it's not now. Like when you're in college, these kids are so impressionable, and you can kind of fool them a little bit, not much, but a little bit. Yeah. And you don't have anything on the other side of it. Like, hey, I've only won, I've only done this, I've only done that. Nobody's seen the bad side. Now everybody's seen the bad side. That's the last thing everybody sees. Good luck getting these guys.
I mean, he could have had the Texas job.
He could have the USC job.
He could have had any job he wanted.
Could have the Notre Dame job.
Really, he could have had the LSU job if he'd called. If he wouldn't have taken the Jacksonville job and would have been in TV, he could have had the LSU job.
I'm glad we don't.
You dodged a bullet.
Dodged the bullet.
One thing that LSU has got to catch up on, and it looks like that they are still getting beat on right now, is NIL stuff. It looks like that Alabama has absolutely cornered the market on NIL. Texas and Texas A&M are doing incredible work with NIL stuff. Look, we can debate it. We can agree, disagree. These are the rules that you play under. And right now, LSU needs to catch up. I thought that they had a tremendous signing day, and we're going to talk all about that. But some of the stories throughout signing day that sting LSU are things like Shaz Preston and Aaron Anderson leaving to go to Alabama. Eli Ricks, we can debate this all day, and Ricks was one of the top corners in the SEC the past 2 seasons. He decided he was transferring out of LSU. He lands at Alabama. Alabama wasn't even in a list of finalists of his schools that he announced a couple of weeks back. They made that push because they're offering him money. They're paying him. But they're doing it above board, right? Like they're at least starting the conversation above board money. I still believe that under the table envelopes are still happening. But to get you to those conversations, it's all about legal ways of paying student athletes. And right now, there's certain schools that are doing it better than others, and it's very obvious who they are. I mean, Texas A&M.
No doubt. Goodness
gracious. I mean, they had that amount of...
Well, Texas, too.
Yeah, Texas as well. But Alabama.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, has gotten their they've gotten it lined up where they understand the process of how this stuff is going to work, right? Like, we're going to put you in touch with a booster. The booster's going to tell you how you can work for him, pay you once you get here, and that's how we're going to get you paid off the field. LSU doesn't have those built-in relationships with the boosters or with business owners around the area and state that you can pick up the phone and say, hey, Mr. Business Owner down in St. James, we've got to find something for Shaz Preston to do for the next 3 years, whether he just shows up and waves and kisses babies, or we put him in the mail room and he runs mail throughout your business. But we got to get him paid, and you got to get him to LSU, because that's how you're losing to Alabama. We'll talk more about it, but we're going to talk to Ty G. Hill coming up here in.
I also love the young guys coming at him in Twitter. Like, get a little hot. You know what I mean? You heard what I did there?
I did.
That was an accident too.
Travis LeBlanc says Bama's been doing this shit for years. They have. But now Bama has found that there is a legal route to get to the illegal conversation.
Which is easier for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, now you can find ways to pay these guys above board, but once you get in there, hey, Eli, look, man, I know that they're only paying you $20,000 to do this, but I got a guy that's going to pay you $100 in cash once you get here. Just make sure you commit to us and everything's going to work out. I mean, that's how that stuff's happening behind closed doors. LSU doesn't have either of those relationships at least solid enough where you can pick up the phone and say, I got to have this guy. What's the plan?
How much is the NCAA panicking right now?
I mean,
they can't get in the game. It's too late.
I think it's too late.
It's too far gone.
I mean,
they had their chance.
But they can. They're gonna. There's something that they're.
Nobody's
going to
listen to them. Why would you?
Well, they could do something. They're going to try to do something.
No, they're going to try to get.
They're going to try to, but they're going to try to.
Some of these coaches are.
They're going to try to mess with the money, and it's going to blow the whole thing up. You know, what I mean,
it's already blown up.
The players.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at something, Mikey, like you're in. The players could strike.
Well, and I was actually talking about this yesterday. The union, like, the players have more control in college football than guys have in professional baseball and professional football and professional basketball. There's no bargaining agreement. There's no union. There's no limits to what can happen. So, like, the players can say, hey, there's no cap. You can go as high as you want, pay me as much as you want, and it's going to continue to grow. Kind of like the coaches' salaries in college right now.
College football, yeah.
Right? Like, the coaches' salaries have steadily been going up because it's just an arms race. Now, it's going to happen with the players in college with no limit. So, if you're a good player out of high school, you're going to start going to lesser schools. You're going to start going to Jackson State instead of Florida State because you get paid $2 million to go. You know, that's only going to continue to get higher and higher and higher. At some point, guys are going to make more money than they would in the NFL.
Deion's going to build a podcasting network over in Jackson. Watch. 3 years from now, they'll have Barstool South located in Jackson, Mississippi on the campus of Jackson State. And this isn't going to be the first 5-star he pulls in. And I wouldn't even say this is the first 5-star he's going to pull in the next couple of months.
Podcasts already have a documentary series built around Jacksonville State.
That's what I'm saying. It's just going to be called Barstool Multimedia of the South. Right? I mean, like, that's all that's going on.
But I'm saying, like,
there.
they already have a documentary for the team. Like, this is only going to lead into it. They're going to do a special around, what's his name that they just signed? Tyler.
Travis Hunter?
Travis Hunter. So I think they've promised to build a documentary around him, around the football team. Like, this is how you do it. This is a way to make money at I guess a lesser school. They don't have the budget of a Florida State. This is something that would never happen unless NIL was on the deal. I think it's
well, and what they do is they prove that the little schools can do it too. And the schools that don't have as many resources.
Hutch Gonzalez, who is the head coach of Mandeville High School, is going to be here in about 12 minutes. Landon Ibietta's coach. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Edward Jones. If you're looking for financial advice and need a financial advisor, Daniel Newman is ours. He's located over in Central Louisiana, and he's ready to help you this morning. Get in touch with Daniel at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com is where you can email into him. And if you work at Exxon, if you work within the plant industry, let Daniel give you some sound financial advice. He's an expert in that field. In fact, he wants me to remind you, if you work at Exxon, you need to get in touch with him if you've thought about retiring this year or next year. They went up 1% in the first quarter next year, and that could affect your decision. Let Daniel and the crew crunch the numbers for you over at Edward Jones. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. You've got to find a collection of business owners who are passionate in love and nearly obsess over LSU football to come together as a group and start building what is, essentially, like we talked about with Woodward, a war chest. Now it's about going out and getting players. Woodward's war chest was he needed to buy out coaches. He needed to pay off buyouts that coaches that he was interested in, and he had to hire his guy. He's got that done. Now to compete in the 2021 edition of college football and that moving forward, you have to be relevant in the NIL space of recruiting. LSU had a really good day yesterday.
Yep.
They had a really solid day in recruiting, but they did not have as strong of a day as their competitors did, and I really do believe even with the coaching change, even the adversity that LSU had been through, if the administration was tightened up on an NIL standpoint where you've got the business relationships laid in and you can go to those guys or women and say, folks, we need a stash of cash that we can present to student athletes as working opportunities for your companies that we can commit to pay them X amount of dollars so we can stay relevant in these recruiting conversations that are going on inside the living rooms and inside of the facilities now. Yep. Because all of this stuff is being spoke about out loud in the living room now. Now Saban is walking in to Shaz Preston's living room and is saying, this is how we're going to pay you. This is the booster's name. Mom, if you have any questions, you can contact him. Dad, if you have any questions, you can contact her. This is going to be your contact of who Shaz is going to be working for while he's in Tuscaloosa. Here's when he's going to get paid. Yep. Here's how he's going to get paid. Here is the amount he's going to get paid. And oh, by the way, the business owner has a $200,000 cash bonus just for you, Mom and Dad, for him signing with the company. And that's how that works. And that's how Jimbo Fisher got 8 of the top 12 prospects in the composite 247 rankings yesterday. That's why Walter Nolan is going to hang out in College Station, Texas for the next 3 to 5 years. It's because they're paying him. They're paying him both above board legally and they're paying him under the table still illegally. But they have a group of boosters that give so much of a damn about Texas A&M football that when Jimbo walks into the room, they go 6 to midnight in a snap, and they will do anything that he asks them to do. They got fat pockets, and they got no life. And I'm not saying that Louisiana is filled with those people, but the successful business owners that care about LSU, if you really want to stay relevant in college football in this day and age, you've got to have an NIL recruiting plan, not only to recruit the 4 and 5 stars coming out of high school, but to Eli Ricks, who's on your roster. You don't think that Alabama picked up the phone to Ricks when he said, I'm opting out or I'm sitting out the rest of the season in the middle of the year? You don't think a representative got into Eli Ricks' ear and said, what are you looking for? Well, I'm pissed off that Stingley's making X amount of money and I don't have any cash coming in for me on it. That's easy. We'll get you at the end of the year. We got an NIL plan set in place. We'll put you on a scale. It's probably tiered to what type of player they are. I mean, Bryce Young, Saban told a room full of Texas high school coaches last year going into the season at the Texas High School Football Coaches Association that Bryce Young's got $1 million on the books before he had taken a snap as a sophomore. He just won the Heisman. How much he going to make next year? Really? You don't think he got a raise?
This is the NFL free agency, dude. This is what it is. Marketing. That's what college football is trying. They need LSU needs someone to structure that business part of recruiting.
Why does it have to happen for them to realize that this was going to happen? Like, why did they wait so long? The writing was on the wall.
It's a great question. And
you go to New York City, you bring Livy Dunn out there, you do all of this for a show? Like, you didn't have a plan in place? You just did an unveiling?
It's a great question. I don't know if they expected their competition to be this far advanced.
Alabama? Texas? You're in the big boy leagues. Like, what do you think they're going to do?
Well, they know now. They know now.
I hope it's not too late.
Well, I don't think it's too late in the sense of now you know the model. And now you know how it's operating. Because don't think that Shaz isn't telling Brian Kelly, hey, man, Alabama came in here with a business plan for me that's going to roll out $150,000 a year that they're going to pay me for wear a hat to class. That's all I got to do. I got to post an Instagram story once a month saying that I get my lumber at this guy's lumber yard in Tuscaloosa and he's going to pay me $150K. I mean, it's as easy as that. You know, and I hate to throw things at people with money and just assume that things can happen, but you would think some of the players within the financial world behind LSU would look at this and say, hey, man, you think we've got access now? Let's build an NIL fund, and we'll probably run the place in 3 years.
And that may be the move.
It might be. I mean,
to get them started.
You know what gets people off in Louisiana.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People want to be seen. They want to be in the middle of it. They want to have a little bit of power. They want to have a little bit of say-so. I mean, you start giving some of these business people around the state of Louisiana who are uber successful that care and show off their business at LSU football games on Saturday nights. Hey, you really want access? You want to come see practice during the week? You want access to the field during the game? Locker room, post-game? I mean, you're not throwing this stuff out to everybody, but there's only a selected amount of people within this state that can really have this conversation. Because it's big, big money. It's millions, multi-million-dollar type deals that they're looking for just to stash away. So if you get into a bind in a conversation with a 5-star, 4-star guy, you got the money. We got the money. Texas A&M's offering me this. Cool, we can offer you that. So if you really love LSU, like Denver Harris says, it's his dream school. But don't think that Texas A&M doesn't hear. Look, Denver Harris is saying that he loves LSU. His stepdad was the point guard on the basketball team that went to the Final Four. I mean, we're in a bind here.
You don't think Jimbo texted him and said, hey, bro, you need to double that offer after walking into Tech's house and seeing all the stuff on the wall? Like, hey, this guy's not as solid to us as we think he is. We need to double that thing.
Yeah, we can offer him $150, and it's like, oh, but LSU hasn't even talked to him yet. No, right. Much less offered him money or an NIL deal. They haven't even had a conversation with the guy yet. It's unbelievable. And
we're going to talk more about it. We got to get to Hutch Gonzalez, who is the head football coach over at Mandeville High School. His wide receiver, Landon Ibieta, and Hutch was a great player in his own right over at Southeastern. Was a record setter over there at wide receiver. So. It'll be interesting to hear the conversations or his outlook on Landon. Get to some of these comments that are coming in, and we appreciate you being here and starting your day with us as it has been a wild ride the last 24 hours. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. Seville Jr. IRS finds money. They track deposits. It's a cash business, Seville, in recruiting. It's all cash. It's buried in bags in backyards. Billy Perdue, Jordy, you should become the NIL organizer for LSU. Terrell Guidry, watch how many kids this will get in trouble with the IRS for not reporting the money as income. Michael, how does A&M sign over 25 high school players? They backloaded their class. Remember last year they signed they must
lost them to the portal. They
must not have signed the 25 limit last year. And if you sign 23 this year, you can sign 25 plus 2 next year. You can sign 27. You can kind of backdate and backload your class. So that's probably what's happening with A&M. I don't know the parameters of A&M's
don't they
classes.
Have the plus 7?
That's just for the transfer portal, okay. But this is the 25 that he's signing. They signed plus 25
also
on the trail, which means that they somewhere along the way, it had to be last recruiting cycle, didn't sign their full allotment.
You don't think that these schools have, hey, you're our accountant. You're going to be the accountant for all these companies and say, hey, guys, when you get this, just make sure you give this guy the information you ask and you're good.
Keep him out of jail.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, this accountant is making a ton of money on this NIL stuff because the school is using that's why they're not going to get in trouble with that because they understand that. And these kids have never done it. They're 18. They don't know how to file taxes or do anything like that.
No, I still don't know how to do it. But that's what I'm concerned about is that it feels like these other schools, when you saw what they were unveiling for the NIL, you saw what Texas was doing. They were putting programs in place. Alabama did the same thing. LSU was the only school that all they did was throw up 5 letters, and they were like, okay, well, this is our plan. These other schools are going to have these things in place. They're going to have accountants. They're going to have lawyers. They're going to have a system in place already. That's what they're building, and it feels like LSU is starting from ground zero.
Which makes me feel like which makes me realize that not only were we behind in like the on the field coaching stuff, but we were behind with
there's no forward thinking.
The guys above that, the people above that,
they
didn't plan, and you had all the time in the world.
I guarantee you, 100% guarantee that there are meetings happening on LSU's campus right now, coming up with some type of solid
plan.
plan.
Do that. I mean, I understand that.
Hey, man.
Why are we always chasing from behind?
Adapt or die, man.
It's
adapt or die.
Infuriating. And then you hire a 60-year-old coach.
You're
and you
still
wonder
chasing.
If he's in the game.
No, I'm not worried about that.
You're still chasing with the LSU brand. Fast to catch up. Be able to fast to catch up. And I think a great representation of that is the next example, or a great example, is the next guest that we're talking to, and that is Hutch Gonzalez over at Mandeville High School, who has done a tremendous job. He's the head coach over there and has done incredible work after taking over in the 2018 season and has kept up really the reputation that Coach Guy LeCompte had started there with the Skippers and has really carried that on. And one of his players, Landon Ibieta, was all over the news all season long. He was all over recruiting boards and message boards about when was he going to get the LSU offer. He was a game breaker every weekend. He finally got the offer after Brian Kelly got the job. He committed to LSU and signed with them on signing day earlier this week. And it's a pleasure to catch up with Coach Hutch Gonzalez, who was an absolute monster in his own right, a hell of a wide receiver down at Southeastern. So it'll be interesting to catch the take on him and Landon's relationship. Coach, thanks for the time. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, Howard. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. You can give good perspective on this, Coach, before we get to Landon and before we get to the Skipper's success. How much recruiting has changed from your point of view? You were recruited coming out of high school. You played college football. Now you're a high school football coach who deal with recruiters all season long. How has that game changed with things like transfer portal discussions and NIL money that we've seen come into play here in yesterday's early signing period?
Yeah, look, I mean, I feel like a dinosaur now.
Right.
You know, the way they were recruiting back in the day. But, I mean, I think the biggest change, you know, initially was the social media presence that kids had and then coaches had, really. I mean, coaches asked the kids to hit them up on Twitter or them hitting kids up on Twitter or whatever it is, you know, and then all the constant barrage of highlight films and check out my highlight and this and that. And that is just, you know, significantly blown up and then transitioned into, like you said, you know, NIL. And I think that's obviously going to change the game. You got the number one recruit in the country going somewhere no one expected, and right. You know, obviously because of issues like that, and then transfer portal things, and guys having the ability to just kind of, you know, I don't really like where I'm at right now, and I'm not feeling it. It's not what I thought it was going to be, so, you know, I'm gonna move on, and you know, everybody's got their own opinion on that, and obviously I do too, but it's definitely changed the game, and you know, recruiters come in the office and they're telling me about how they're having parent meetings, and I'm thinking they're talking about players who are being recruited currently, and they're talking about guys that are already on the team, and they're having parent meetings with, you know, college football players' parents, which is just mind-blowing to me. Wow. You know, so it definitely changes the transfer portal and trying to keep kids happy and the NIL stuff and what some places can offer and others can't. It's definitely changed the game.
Do you see it bleeding into your game, into the high school game, as it come into your locker room? Not necessarily your locker room, but just to your sport, your level.
Oh well, I mean, I think it's always a trickle down effect. You know, I think it bled down from the NFL and you know, it being a business into the college ranks, and then, you know, our kids want to do what the best guys do, and so you see some of these. I mean, look, I don't mean to be. Maybe it's not the right word, but it's just the word that comes to my mind. You see some of these obnoxious signing day ideas and some of the unprofessional things that I've seen on Twitter, and just the kind of look at me mentality, and you know, it works for some people and it doesn't for others, and it's definitely bleeding into high school. I mean, you got kids transferring from school to school, playing for 4 different high schools in 4 different years. You know, it definitely, it's always going to be a trickle-down effect. And fortunately for us, we're the last one to get it. Whether, you know, if it's a good thing or a bad thing, we have time to see it play out. But we know it's coming all the time.
Yeah. Hutch Gonzalez, who's the head football coach over at Mandeville. It's been a big week for the Skippers as his top wide receiver, Landon Ibieta, had a incredible senior season, Coach. Before we get to offers and recruiting on Ibieta, the player, everybody that we speak to about him, we watched him a little bit from afar on some social media highlights in his Huddle account, but the speed looks incredible. He catches everything. What type of player is LSU getting?
He's just dynamic, and I said this yesterday. I got a lot of phone calls and did a lot of talking about him yesterday on signing day. He's dynamic, man. He's a guy who, if you're smart, you give him the ball as many ways as you can, as many times as you can every game, because he's probably, the most explosive player on the field for you. He can catch it. He threw a touchdown this year. So, just whatever we needed from him, he would give us, and we snapped him the ball. We threw him screens. We let him go over the top and take the top off. He was
disconnected.
Hey, call back.
We'll get him right back.
That was on his end.
We'll get him right back.
I feel like that was a hang-up on that end.
I think it was
a
a transfer.
I don't know. Maybe it was Ibieta. Maybe a little NIL deal.
Maybe
Caulfield. I
Coach,
want to ask
Coach
him
Alabama just called. They're offering me over here. Did I ink the paper yet?
I want to ask him if that 10-4 is real.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I know. I think that's the most pressing question.
Did I lose you?
Was that Jimbo Fisher coming in when you talk about Ibieta? Was he coming in with a little cash for you? No, you were talking about Ibieta, just how dynamic. I think the last thing we heard from you is that he threw a touchdown pass this year as well.
Painted your fence?
Yeah. He did. He threw a touchdown pass, and I just think, like I said, he's physical, and he can take the top off, and he can catch the ball away from his body. He's got phenomenal hands, and he's as polished as anybody as I've ever seen at this level. He does things as a high school football player that I didn't do until I learned him in college or even beyond when I was playing in the CFL. He's the real deal. He's definitely the real deal.
Coach, is the 10-4 real? 10-400?
Oh, it's real.
Wow,
it's real.
That's flying,
like
man.
that.
God, that's flying.
It's real. Look, he's hand time 4.38, which you think about.
So the 10-4, it translates to the football field, right, as well.
Yeah, like I said, look, I was blessed with speed. Okay, I was able to run. I was a 4.4 guy when I was in high school and college, but there's a difference in his speed and mine in the sense that, like, I don't know. It took me a little bit longer to get going, and it takes him. He's 4.4 in 3 steps. Like he's the most explosive. Just so much pop, I call it. He's got a lot of pop.
Yeah, right. Quick twitch.
Bouncy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. What was his process like? What I hate to put. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but like, what were people looking at? Like, why were people late to him on the offers?
I don't know, and I don't know. I lived this life. I was that kind of guy when I was coming through, and I think people kind of pigeonhole you, right? So you're built like you are, and you are who you are, and you get, he's like Edelman, or he's like this one, and he's not. He's, to me, he's just like any other wide receiver you see out there on a Saturday. The guy can do it all, and it took a little time for people to really, really realize that, and getting him some exposure was a little bit more difficult for some reason or another. But he got on the 7-on-7 circuit. I got to give my buddy, Jimmy, some credit here. He put him out there with that bootleggers team and brought him all over the country and really showcased him, and people couldn't help but see it.
Yeah.
They couldn't help but see it, and he's just making plays on 5 stars over and over, and finally people started to go, okay. And when Miami came in, anytime a university with that much prestige starts offering a kid that's 12 hours away, everybody has to open their eyes a little bit to take notice. And so then with all the stuff going on with the head coaching position and all that, and people saw that the gate might be open, well, the sharks started circling. And I think then it really picked up in the past couple of weeks, and my door has been like a revolving door in my office, guys in and out. It's been exciting. It's been an exciting process. I know a longer process that he probably wanted because he's just not that kind of guy. He's very humble and very mild-mannered. But there were some guys who were on him early. Some guys who have a heavy Twitter presence. I know, Blake Ruffino, are you serious? He was on him from the jump, and he's pushing him, and I kept telling him, thanks for doing that. Hopefully it helps. But finally, people came around and jumped on board a little bit.
Yeah. You mentioned 7-on-7. From your point of view, how's that changed what you guys are doing at the high school level, or how do you handle that part of the game?
Oh, man, look, I don't want to be the guy who's ever going to battle. I'm not the old battle act that's going to say, I don't like what he does to our sport and this and that. I can't, because if you're going to fight them on playing the 7-on-7 with the national teams and things of that nature, you're going to lose. I mean, there's legitimately kids out there who would quit your football team if you told them that they couldn't play for a specific 7-on-7 team. So you have to learn how to work with it. To me, I think that it's important to build a relationship with whoever's coaching that 7-on-7 team, have constant communication with those guys, and just let them understand, make them understand this is what we did this week, so you might need to take it a little bit easy, or, don't go crazy with them. We got this coming up, and, we're not going to make too many terribly special concessions. But look, in the case of a kid like Landon Ibieta, if he doesn't go play those 7-on-7s all over the country, we may not be having this conversation. Wow. So whatever's best for the kid, that's what you got to do.
Have you had any discussions with Brian Kelly, and what has been your impressions of him now that he's leading LSU?
So I have not. I've had discussions with assistants. You can bring in a guy who's a winner. I don't see how you proven himself to be a winner. Look, he doesn't always get the 5-star athletes. He's at Notre Dame. It's a pretty academic school, and he's winning with guys that some other guys didn't want. He's going to have his hands on a pretty good treasure trove now of athletes, and I think that his system obviously works. I think he's pretty young. I told somebody this the other day. I don't think anybody's going to go to LSU to take dance lessons from him, based upon some videos I saw. But I think that he can teach the guys how to play some good football, and he's going to run a solid program.
It looked like he was stepping on glass. Looked like he was stepping on ants.
I can't say
dancing with water. Hutch Gonzalez, head coach of the Mandeville Skippers. Coach, it looks like your program is really off and running in the right direction, man. It has been. I know that Coach Guy LeCompte did a great job, but you taking over in 2018. You were a standout at Covington back at graduated 2001. Went on to have a really good career at Southeastern. What's the outlook for the Skippers coming up moving forward? Coach?
I think we lost him.
That's Coach Hutch Gonzalez checking in this morning from Mandeville. Bad cell phone there, but really good conversation.
Great info. Yeah.
I mean, that was really good conversation. I wish we would have had good cell there, because a lot of the insight that he had there, we will have Coach Hutch back on at some point, hopefully from an office phone.
So I want to try to verbalize how fast, like a 4.38 or a 4.4
Right.
is. Oh, this is him?
No, good.
How fast that really is. Like, you hear, I run a 4.4, I run a 4.4. There's not very many guys that truly run a 4.4. They talk about it all the time. You see it when you go to camps. Like, I'd go to camps and you'd be like, hey, what do you run? Oh, I run a 4.4. Oh, what you run? I run a 4.3. Like, everybody was saying, and then they run the 40 and they're 4.7s, 4.6s, and like, they don't, when you run the 40 at high school, maybe it's 38 yards, not 40 yards, it's whatever. The fact that, and you believe it from him because he played football, right? So coming from your football guy and saying, hey, this guy's a hand time 4.38, which that's a legit 4.4 guy. That's flying.
Flying.
And you have to take
But
his word for it.
Have you seen his highlights?
Which one?
Landon Ibieta.
Oh my God!
Have you seen the way he runs away from people?
Absolutely. Like, it makes sense. That's what I was saying yesterday. Like, it rings true. I covered track at Northwestern State. I'm not a track aficionado, but I saw it a lot, and he has track speed.
I remember watching Leonard Scott run at Zachary when we were in high school. We were around the same age. I think he was 2 years older than me, and we were.
You know it when you see it.
When you see it, you're like, oh my God! It was like that guy from the Chicago Bears the other night that returned the punt.
Grant.
Yeah, Grant.
Jakeem
Jakeem
Grant Senior.
Right.
for
I mean,
Texas Tech.
when he turned the corner at Lambeau, everybody in this room was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
He's pulling away from
Like
people.
that's an NFL field that
caught
he's
the ball on
running
the
away
4-yard
from
line.
people.
Yeah.
and
4-yard line.
zigzagged.
Yeah,
And
he
then hit
set
the
it up.
corner.
It was a return left, and he set it up, and he knew he had to go here to get him here, and he put his foot down on the ground, and he was full speed.
Gone.
It was
It was
the
unreal.
Odell.
And like Coach
kick
just
return.
said, it is true. When you turn on the film of Ibieta, his third step, he's gone. He's gone. Like he's 4-4 in 3 steps. And, like on film, like I said, Leonard Scott, I saw Leonard Scott when we were in high school at LSU run, I think he ran a 10-4. I think it was a 10-4 when we were in high school. And me and my buddy were standing there on the finish line. We were kind of standing on the infield, and it was like seeing the Batmobile. It was like seeing something that you were just like, oh my God, look at this. I mean, this guy's closing on us like a bullet. I mean, and Ibieta has that type of pop on film where you're like, I didn't know it was 10-4. I didn't know it was 4-4. But it is flying. I mean, he is pulling away from people that have their head down, sprinting behind him. I mean, the line
He's pulling away. He's Secretariat.
It's unbelievable.
And the coach, if he's a former wide receiver and a 4-4 guy, he would never give somebody else 4-4 speed.
Exactly.
That's the club you want to be in. He holds that in
Exactly.
high regard. He's not going to flub the numbers.
Well, you just can't throw that number around in
But people
recruiting.
do, like he was
because
saying,
People
yeah.
try to do
Well,
that.
The kids, that's what I'm
kids and
saying.
the high school coaches do, but the coaches know. You can see that. You know what I mean? It's legit. It's exciting.
Kyler Murray, Trendon Holiday.
Yeah.
That type of speed where you look at it, you're like, my God. Like, I don't. That's
David Cotter.
NFL guys that they're running away from. I mean, that are sprinting at the top of their speed, and they cannot even gain any ground.
What was the Arkansas game with Trendon Holiday when he got to the other? He was on the.
He started dragging his
at
feet.
the 40, and then I think it was Gary Danielson was like, "Well, he's gone," and he was just pulling away from people. He still had 60 yards to go.
Holiday was unbelievable.
And if he could catch that thing,
I know.
it was over.
If you remember, my
God,
You want some water? Want some water?
You want a Sprite?
good Lord. If you remember that game, that highlight, Darren McFadden had just gone 75 yards for a touchdown and beat LaRon Landry. LaRon Landry was sprinting behind him,
He's
and
a
he couldn't
4.38
catch
guy.
him. And they kicked off to Trendon Holiday in Fayetteville, and he caught it. And I don't think he got touched. I think he hit the hole and
Gone.
Even Vern was like, "You're not gonna catch him."
He caught it,
You know what I
he
mean?
caught it from the 40. It was Verner
Wow.
Gary, but he's like, nobody's catching him.
He was so fun to watch run the football. Or just when he had the ball in his hand. And if you watch him run track, he doesn't have a good running form.
No,
he was just
he's just
raw
fast.
speed, dude. It was crazy.
I mean,
Crazy.
he did that in the AFC Championship game.
He changed games. That's why he stayed in the league. I mean,
He
Hester played with him
He had 2
in the
touchdowns that day.
playoffs. Yeah. Wait, or
In the AFC Championship
yeah.
against Baltimore that day,
Baltimore.
Flacco hit Jacoby Jones over the top of the
Jacoby Jones.
New Orleans.
New Orleans kid.
Yeah.
Hit the
Wow.
dance.
Yeah, he did. Daily, we're brought to you by Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. Remember our friends over at Cajun Ready Mix Concrete, located right here in Baton Rouge, ready to help you out with any of your concrete needs. If that's residential, commercial, industrial, or municipal. Get in touch with Cajun Ready Mix. CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com. 9 state certified plants around the greater Baton Rouge area. What's that mean to you, the customer? It means as soon as you order your concrete, it'll be delivered on time and to the exact specification. Get in touch with Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com, where they strive to be the premier provider of quality concrete. High quality products, grade A equipment, and clear safety standards. That's our friends over at Cajun Ready Mix Concrete. CajunRMC.com. CajunRMC.com. Still with all of the NIL stuff that we've talked about. We've talked about a ton of it here as we are 12 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock on this Thursday morning. Please hit that like, share, and comment button. We've talked a lot about the NIL stuff from yesterday, but all in all, LSU had a really good day.
Great day.
I know that you look at some of the stories that they missed on, and they suck, but the stories that they hit on is some really good news. I thought that they had a excellent start to a signing class where you turned over a coach and you got a couple of key cogs that you had to get. You had to have. I almost kind of thought that Quincy kind of feels like a luxury.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I mean?
Was that what we have 3? We have 3 5-stars, but I know they're all from Louisiana. I don't know if
Will Campbell
is a 5-star.
Will
right?
Campbell's a 5-star. Walker Howard's a 5-star.
Quincy's a 4.
Quincy's a 4.
Okay, so he's a high 4, but I think more impressive than the actual signings. I think what we did with the guys who didn't sign, postponed a few guys' signatures and said this guy's not going to make his decision now. He's going to wait. I think that is where LSU made up the most ground. That's where it was most impressive to me, because now we're back in the mix with some of these big-time guys that they were going to sign, and hey, I'm not sure anymore, and they've kind of pushed it back.
Yeah, Seville Jr. says Trevante Citizen did not sign. That's a win for LSU. I mean, that was Frank Wilson's first stop as soon as he was named associate head coach of the LSU team. I mean, that was obviously he was over in Lake Charles at McNeese. But, I mean, the first stop he made was to Trevante Citizen to try and get him back on board, or to try and delay his announcement, his signing.
Just buy some time.
Yeah, just give me time, man. Just let me build a relationship with you. I
think that was LSU's biggest recruit was time, is they were able to recruit some more time, especially when, I mean, obviously we talked about NIL a lot, but the recruits, that's all they've heard. And if LSU was kind of late to the party on that and not able to pitch that, they're not able to have that as a part of their recruiting pitch, that's an even bigger win for LSU if they're doing it like the old way, as opposed to walking in there with like an NIL deal.
So after LSU's day on Wednesday, there's a couple of remaining targets on the board, right, that LSU is kind of zeroing in on, and I think the top one on the board obviously is going to be Kendrick Law, the athlete out of Captain Shreve. Law is the highest ranked prospect in Louisiana who is uncommitted and yet to announce. This is going to be an LSU-Bama battle here. Florida State seems like they had a chance at times. Boy, Norvell's got to be feeling very lonely this morning, buddy. I don't know who's feeling more lonely this morning, the Florida State athletic director who signed Norvell to the extension and more money, or Norvell who missed out and negotiated that extension on Travis Hunter's back, saying that I've got the number one player in the country in my back pocket, and I might get this athlete out of Louisiana. It looks like both of them are going to spurn him. You got your cash, but you won't have your football team, Mike. But Kendrick Law obviously is going to be the big story here, and he's going to announce on Friday. So not all of the stories are done here in recruiting. They'll have a big one tomorrow from Shreveport as Kendrick Law is set to announce. I told you earlier this week, in talking to some LSU people around the facility, this is the jewel. This is the one that they have really kind of circled. He's a 3.9 student. He's a guy that can help you both on offense and defense. A lot of people have him projected to play at offense at the next level. I think that he was kind of waiting to see what Alabama's class was going to look like, what LSU's class was going to look like, give Frank Wilson some more time and Brian Kelly some more time to sell their message. But it does seem like, in talking to some people up in North Louisiana, that Alabama is the trending school for Kendrick going into Friday. And I got to imagine that this is another simple, hey, Kendrick, how much?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. You're a 3.9 student? Can you do
how
this
much?
math?
Well, I love Louisiana.
How
much do you love Louisiana? How much does it mean to stay at the state school to you? What if we got you a job in T-Town that was paying you $100,000 just to wear some guy's T-shirt after the game, or go eat Dreamland barbecue ribs once a week and put it on a story on an Instagram and get you paid
Throw it
off
in
of
the
that?
Trash right after.
Whatever you got to do. What's the number, Kendrick?
Is that what I'm sorry. Is
No,
that
go
what
for
it seems like, that LSU was more recruiting NIL for people that were already on campus, for student athletes that were already on, as opposed to
I think they just
using it as like a high school recruiting pitch?
I don't know if they knew what they were doing.
No,
that would be giving them a lot of credit in my
They probably just tried to
mind.
do a little bit of everything and just messed up.
yeah.
They shuffled. They had too many balls in the court and didn't end up with one.
I mean, think about the NIL deals that have been done. Who do you think of? Derek Stingley Jr., Libby Dunn,
Miles Brennan,
and
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Just you did the three biggest ones that anybody. I could have done that.
B.J. Ojulari on the Culotta show.
On the Culotta show.
There you go.
Hey, at least we got Butte some, little bankroll.
Hey, outside of
Can't compete probably.
outside of Kendrick Law, What are the other guys that we like?
So the
would
top
you consider it a success?
So the top. Okay. The guys that they signed, or the guys?
No. That we're looking for, like we're trying to get, that we think that we may have a shot with. That
if they
by
pull,
Friday.
if they pull, I don't know if they got till Friday here.
Yeah, I'm talking about till the end of the signing
till February.
day. Yeah.
Jacoby Matthews would be behind Kendrick Law. Would be the next one. Kind of 1-1A there. You want both, but you best case
And
scenario.
Jacoby Matthews is where?
Safety in Ponchatoula.
Ponchatoula.
Was committed at a point,
Right.
and then backed off. Trevante Citizen, the running back, who was committed at times this year. He's over at Lake Charles College Prep in West Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana. You would hope to get him back into the class here. He's one of the state's top running back. You saw yesterday that Le'Veon Moss out of Estruma here in Baton Rouge signed with Texas A&M.
Who was
And then Harold Perkins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Harold Perkins is high on that list.
And Harris. I guess Harris is not. When is he signing?
Who's this?
Denver Harris.
Denver Harris, Friday.
That's what I'm saying. So it's
Yeah.
two of them on Friday. That's
Yeah.
what I
So
mentioned
two
the
big
date.
ones-
You
two
got
big
two
ones on Friday we could
massive
have.
commits on Friday.
And Jacoby's waiting until the
Jacoby's waiting until
February.
February.
That seems like a win for LSU.
Couple
It
of
does
them.
seem like a
Couple
he
of
wants
them.
to go to LSU.
Yeah.
Couple of them are waiting until the All-American games, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you and you can't sign? I'm asking you all these recruiting questions. You can't sign. Like, you can just commit, right? You can't sign until February. You can't actually sign on the.
They're probably
letter.
signed right now if they know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Or as soon as you know, you can
Yeah.
send your letter in.
So even after
Walker,
Friday.
like Walker's signing yesterday was fake.
No, I know, but like after Friday, they can't technically sign.
Yes,
on those
it stays open.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
So you can
It
sign
stays
any day
open.
from there to
Absolutely.
February. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, that's what I was asking.
Yes. This is just the start of the early signing period, and then in February it's almost like the close of the period.
Right, but there's no dead period in
No.
between.
No,
Okay.
you
But
can sign
if
at
you
any point.
want to be on campus early, you have to sign by Friday.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right, because
All
the
right.
semester starts.
All right.
Danny Lewis, Westgate tight end, I think would be on the list. Who
Yeah.
I think is probably another win. Another guy.
Right, I mean,
that
he's got
if-
Cincinnati offer. I'm sure he would love an LSU offer.
I would imagine if you put your foot on the gas, you can probably get him.
Right.
And then remember, Cincinnati's offensive coordinator has really kind of been in the mix. I mean, it seems like he's kind of maybe the trending name of somebody
Is
to
this
watch.
the same
who could be
one
next.
that Brian Kelly demoted?
Yeah, it is.
Interesting.
Um,
I'm just.
Andrew Messina, call TAC and get an update. We will before Friday.
Yesterday afternoon, you can't bug the guy.
Who dat? Don't sleep on Florida. They stole the top safety in the class. They did steal the
Saw
top
that.
safety in the class out of Florida. He was at IMG. A&M is already at 26, says Will too. It's the backload, man. I'm telling you, I think that they can actually sign 27. I saw Robert Miller pointed it out inside of the chat app, kind of going back and saying how this is possible. But if you sign, let's say this year for LSU's class, they're allotted 25 scholarships. If they sign 23, well, then next year's cycle they can sign 27. So A&M has been either undercutting or lowballing their signatures each year, and now they're finding that we can finally pay these cats above the board. I mean, did you hear Jimbo yesterday on Feinbaum? I mean, he was like, this NIL stuff's been happening forever.
Everybody's
I was
been
just
saying
doing
that.
it legally.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's what shocks me that LSU is so behind the ball on this. Like, it's unbelievable.
I mean, Lane
it's not like
Kiffin-
it's not like LSU wasn't in the game.
Lane Kiffin's alluded to it. All these guys are talking about, hey, this has been going on forever. It's just now we can do it more, and it can be public knowledge.
Did you see what Nick Saban said when they asked him?
What?
It's not for me to comment on who makes what decisions and to go go where based on what circumstances. So he's not admitting to anything.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
A lot of help. I'm not a kid. I'm not admitting to anything.
How much for Kendrick, Nick? Follow up to that. How much you paying Kendrick Law on
Or
Friday?
Eli.
All right, Jamie Howard, his son Walker Howard, inked his letter of intent yesterday. It is official. The 5-star quarterback and #1 quarterback in the country is heading to Baton Rouge. He's the leader of the class. We will talk to him next. We will talk to Jamie, his father, next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. True Blue Water, true hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. Papa Earl's, the fine spot. Hebert's Specialty Meats, home to the finest boudin in South Louisiana. 2 spots right here in Baton Rouge and out in Prairieville. Stop in and see them in the Dutchtown Shopping Center on Highway 73 or right here in Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway. Online, abearsmarkets.com, and they're all over social media. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram. Hebert's combines perfect seasoning with that authentic Cajun flavor. Find out for yourself. Baton Rouge on Jefferson Highway and in Prairieville on Highway 73. abearsmarkets.com. All right, welcome back here to a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show as we wrap up the early signing period. Carpool Queen has showed up here. Here comes Jordan Peck walking in. Morning, everybody. Driven and powered by Go Chevrolet over here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember our friends over at Go, Geaux, Chevrolet.com, located in LaPlace, Baton Rouge, and up in Tennessee. Brands growing with Go Chevrolet. All right, speaking about this recruiting class, and that's what's been dominating the discussion here throughout the first hour. Walker Howard, who is a great friend of our show, just finished up his senior season, 5-star quarterback, #1 quarterback in the country, Elite 11, down at St. Thomas More. Signed his letter of intent yesterday, finally becoming an official LSU Tiger. One of the things you love to see as the quarterback in the class was his letter of intent was the first to be faxed over to LSU yesterday morning. I believe it opened up at 7 o'clock. At 7:12 yesterday morning, Walker Howard has his letter of intent in.
12 minutes to figure out the fax machine.
Probably so. What the hell is this thing?
Dad!
Is that what y'all do? Jamie, do y'all fax? Is that still a thing?
No, it was actually my fault. It was supposed to be 7:04. I didn't know. I didn't realize I had to document.
Dad.
Good morning to Jamie Howard. Walker's dad is here joining us on the Jordy Culotta Show. All right, the morning after this stuff is over, man. What was this experience like? How long has this experience been? Has this been 4 years, 3 years that it came to an end?
It's been like 3 years. Yeah, it's been a long time.
What was that experience like?
Well, it was exciting, stressful. It's been a little bit of everything, especially with the coaches changing and, other coaches going other places. I mean, it got pretty stressful in the end.
What was your?
It was an overall great process, though.
Yeah. What was your impressions of Brian Kelly the first time you met him? I'd imagine you met him for the first time when he was Notre Dame's head coach, and then come to find out that he was going to coach Walker at LSU. What was that feeling like? What did you learn in that process?
Surprisingly, much more personable than I thought. And then when you talk to him, you definitely feel like you believe everything he says, and you believe in his plan and his process. Reminded me a lot of Nick, but probably a little bit more personable and joking than Nick does.
Mm-hmm. What do you see in his offense? What stood out in his offense and watching his Notre Dame's teams play, and what he is selling Walker on the vision of what the next couple of years could look like?
Well, I think for his offense at Notre Dame, I mean, they always establish a run, which is really, really good for a quarterback if you can do that. Really good offensive line play and tight end play. And I think what's interesting for him here is he's going to have access to speed he's never had before. So it's going to be interesting to see how he incorporates that into his offense.
What were you looking for when you first set out, before he even committed to LSU? What was kind of the vision of what you and Walker were kind of saying, hey, look, these are the boxes that kind of need to be checked of the schools that we want to give interest to?
Well, he committed so early and he wanted to so soon. We really never got to that point. But, I always wanted him to kind of create his own path and do his own thing. But he was dead set on LSU, which at first I wasn't for. But I'm really excited about it now because he's only going to be 45 minutes, an hour away. Mm-hmm. But really, for me, I think the best thing he can look at is who are the guys he's going to be in the locker room with, because those are the guys you're going to know forever, and those will be your best friends from here on out. And man, I really believe just jumping forward this class, they're really tight. Like they're some really good guys, and they are become really close with each other.
How did NIL come into discussion? How do you view NIL for your son, and what do you think NIL's impact will be on college football?
Oh man, that's a great question. I'm not sure how it's going to impact Walker. We're not going to go crazy with that if that is something that comes around. But I think once it dies down after another year, I think it's going to probably be a little more controlled and probably be good for college football. I mean, it's being used right now as a way to pay players to go to places at other schools, which is a little scary. But let's be real. I don't know that anyone would think that it wasn't being done under the table before at some of these places. So now it might just be above the table.
Right. Did
I guess the guys that are paying now can write it off. I guess that's a different story.
I know Walker obviously
doesn't have to be cash anymore.
It's out in the open.
Yeah,
it's out in the open. I know Walker committed early, obviously, but during this last month or whatever, have other schools made a serious push with some of these NIL deals to y'all?
Yeah, I mean it's always mentioned, but you have to get pretty serious with them and really consider it for it to get, I guess, to that level. Florida was probably the closest of not talking about NIL, but it was mentioned, but more of what we, kind of because of Billy Napier, who we think the world of, going there, that made it tough. But so I never really entertained the NIL thing as a discussion of the school.
What was the time period like between Orgeron and Kelly for somebody that's committed to the class?
What was the question?
What was the time period between Orgeron and Kelly like for somebody that was committed to the class? What was that point in time like for a lot of instability, right? Yeah.
So scary, yeah. Well, I was really worried, and I was totally against not signing him until we knew that offensive coordinator was. But once we sat down with Coach Kelly, I mean, he made it very clear that he sits in the quarterback room for every meeting. It's going to be his offense no matter who it is. And he told us that we're going to be very happy with who he hires. And it sounded like it was already done, but he didn't want to announce it.
Wow.
So, you just have to trust him. And then that's one guy, I really didn't think I want to do it, but every time we sat with him, I trusted him more and more.
Jamie, what's your point of view of SEC football now? You played it, and to what the monster that it is becoming, and while Walker is there, it'll really kind of hit the, Texas and Oklahoma will be added into the conference. What is your point of view of SEC football in 2021 compared to 1995 when you played?
Well, I think now if you want to compete against the best, that's where you have to be. I mean, back then when I was playing, we had other schools, Big Ten. They were very competitive and almost as good as the SEC. Now it's like, as a coach, if you want an easy path to if you don't have the 12-team playoff now, if you want an easy path, don't go to SEC. If you want, as a player, if you want to compete against the best and go at it, go to SEC. If you want an easy path to get an all conference and another conference, go somewhere else. So SEC is just so dominant now, and it's going to continue to be.
What is your outlook of this wide receiving core that he's stepping in to play with? I think this freshman wide receiving class was probably the most dynamic in the country when you look at it from a whole. And then you obviously, him and Jack Besh probably had the best quarterback wide receiver combination in the state over the last decade. What do you look at this wide receiver room like? They add Landon Ibieta in the class yesterday.
Right, and hopefully, I mean, I'm excited about that. I think he can do a lot of things with that class, with those group of receivers. I mean, especially with his offense. I don't think he's never coached a group like that. So I think he's excited. But man, we got one kid we got to try to get. I think is Kendrick Law.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm got my fingers crossed on that one because he's a class changer. He's a first class kid, parent, athlete, student. He's just exactly what you want in that locker room. So hopefully we can pull that out.
What position do you think he would play?
I think he can play anything he wants.
Yeah. Really,
That's
he
a
really
fun-
can.
That's a fun spot.
really
That's a
can.
fun position. He's a football player.
Jamie, how good can Jack Besh be? How good is Jack Besh?
Well, Jack Besh is incredible. I mean, it's a joke they put him at tight end. I mean, I still understand why they label him as tight end to start with. But Jack Besh, people don't realize, I mean, Jack Besh is a guy you put on the outside, close to goal line, he's going to be your best 50-50 ball guy. I think Coach Kelly's he calls him a W position, is what he mentioned, where you can put him anywhere. So it's kind of like, close to goal line on the outside, slot, middle of the field. I mean, Jack's really one you can put anywhere. He's the same way as far as a receiver.
It's got to be cool for you and Ben Bordelon to be going through this process together. Yeah. I mean, so Bo Bordelon is a signee, an offensive lineman down at Newman. Ben was he was your center. You guys had
it was tackle.
I'm sorry, tackle. Was on the offensive line when you played, and now you guys are best friends, and they're going through the process. How cool is that dynamic of friends and kids and all of going to LSU?
It's Ben told me yesterday. He just said, "Man, can you believe this really happened?" I was like, "Man, I really can. It's incredible." And I know Jimmy, his wife, is so excited about it too, and the boys love each other. Like I said, I mean, it's just they've been hanging out since they were born. So it's such a cool thing to see, and we're going to have a great time for the next 4 to 5 years.
You obviously support him enrolling early, and what are the benefits of that?
Man, you guys know Walker a little bit. He just loves to compete, so I don't know how he would have sat here and watched spring ball go by without being over there and trying to compete. He's so ready to go right now. He told me yesterday, "Why can't I practice for the ball game?" I said, "I don't know." But he's not healed yet either, so that's the other issue.
I was going to ask you on his health. How is his health?
It's getting better. It's just a time thing. I think by late middle January, he'll be fine.
Is he? Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Is he in Baton Rouge right now? Is he like? I mean, I think is SCM done with their first? Like, is he graduated? Yeah, is he done?
Yeah, he graduated. He might be there in Baton Rouge today. Who knows?
But is he? I guess my question is, has he moved?
He's living the good life right now.
He's not awake right now.
He's living that good life.
Oh, he's just hanging out with Jack.
Yeah.
All right.
What do you know about? What do you know about Mason Taylor, tight end?
Wow, man, that kid's only 17. When I saw him for the first time, wow, man, he's a good-looking kid. Incredible kid again, another high-character kid. Major upside. He's gonna be. He reminded me of when I saw him at first. I was like, oh my God, he reminds me of Jake Johnson. So I felt really good if we got him. We weren't missing much from between he and Jake. So I mean, I think he's such a great pickup, and his family's great too.
Did Besh and Walker dupe you like they did the rest of the college football world when they followed Lincoln Riley on Twitter? Did you think that was any smoke to him coming to LSU?
I did. I think everyone thought it. I'm not giving Jack R. Walker any credit for that because they don't deserve it. But because I know that's the little thing that Jack schemed up and Walker says it was just Jack, but I don't know if that's true.
It could have been Walker the whole time, and he'd blame it on Jack.
Wow.
Who knows, man?
I feel like those two have been in the middle of the shit since they were 5 years old.
They have.
You can just tell, bro. You can just tell.
It's the little smirks they have, you can tell they're up to no good. But no, I mean, I think that's the funniest thing. I mean, because they both have the same agent between Brian and Lincoln, their agent was so brilliant in leaking that.
Mm-hmm.
So all the questions were directed at Lincoln about LSU and never about USC. So that was a perfect fit. I mean, the agent, Trace Armstrong, he crushed it for him.
Yeah. It feels like Sexton and Armstrong really run college football. I mean,
there's no question about it.
It really does. Thank you, as always, for your insight. I know you hate doing this stuff. Thanks for the information this morning. I can't wait to start seeing you more around Baton Rouge with Walker here. Thanks, man.
All right, guys. Thank y'all.
See you. There's Jamie Howard checking in this morning from Lafayette.
Yeah. It sounded like he was on Drugs Inc.
Yeah.
Like, the National Geographic.
Yeah, it is. Like when you disguise it. Yeah,
that's what it sounded like.
Great
cadence.
Very big
voice.
Very laid back.
List of best athletes to come out of Lafayette. Where's he at? He's got to be top 5.
He's for sure. I mean, he was drafted out of high school in baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First round pick, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was a first rounder, but he got drafted by the Braves, I think.
And then
really?
he worked out a deal with LSU where he was allowed to play
That's right.
summer ball
I remember that story.
while he was at LSU.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was
What
the
year
starting
was that,
quarterback.
though?
94?
Okay. I remember we talked about that before
93,
here.
94,
Yeah,
95.
he's top 5 for sure.
Top 5 for sure.
Wow,
huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Did he not come back for his senior year? Didn't he stick strictly to baseball? Is that right?
Yeah,
No, he came back
like
his senior year and he got carried off the field in the bring back the Magic game.
There was something to
I mean,
that.
the low point was
Yeah, there was something to
the
that.
low point was Auburn 1994,
Absolutely.
and then the high point was Auburn 1995. Exactly.
That's
one
some
year.
wherewithal right there, huh?
It was.
The 1 year after your worst game, you go back and you have the best one, and you lead them.
Carried
that's
him off
great.
the field.
That's great.
Carried him off the field, front page of the paper.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay, instead of playing baseball, he opted to come back and play football.
That's right.
That's what it was.
That's what it
He
was.
gave up baseball. He gave
For
up
the
baseball.
dream.
Yeah, man.
To get carried off the
mean,
field. Love it.
I mean, what a
And
decision.
you can see where Walker
I can't
Howard gets
imagine.
it.
Absolute bazooka.
Yes.
Bazooka,
on his-
bring it back, baby.
on his right arm. I mean, like he had one of those flick of the wrist type releases where
Easy.
you could hear the ball spinning.
Yep.
Like I mean, it was coming at you. Jamie Howard is. It'll be fun to see him around Baton Rouge over the next couple of years with his son Walker being around. I can't wait to see Walker Howard and Jack Besh play. Not this year, but next.
Mm-hmm.
Not
It's gonna
this
be
year,
fun.
but next. It's
It's gonna
going to
be
be
fun.
fun to watch them after kind of getting the college game and to what they did to the high school ranks to see
Might
if
see
they
him
can.
next year.
There's a lot of Lafayette flavor on the team.
There is.
Like
There is.
big time guys. Like Malik Neighbors is from Lafayette.
Yep.
So is Jack Besh.
And
so is
Kayshawn.
Well,
I mean,
Kayshawn.
y'all
New
could claim
Iberia.
him.
Yeah.
Y'all should claim him.
You have.
Wait,
you
what?
have
Is
Walker.
he just from the area or
He's
something?
like
he's from
Opelousas.
New Iberia.
New
Okay.
Iberia.
So
New
he's
Iberia.
probably like
Is that
25
He's got like
considered
denim.
local? Okay.
You know what I mean? Like-
25, 30 minutes away. Yeah.
We'll take him. Tasman's from Baton Rouge. Tasman Mitchell.
But they have a lot of guys, and then you have let's say Sage Ryan. There's probably
Yeah, Sage
6 or
Ryan.
7 guys that are probably going to
Jordan
be
Allen
guys.
yesterday committed.
Yep.
Fitzgerald West. There
Yeah.
is.
Big
About
Lafayette.
time, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm serious though. Like you only have 1 or 2 football guys come out of
Yeah.
that area. Now it's like then there's a lot of really good talent down there, and I'm glad it's coming out.
City Cafe Daily. Remember lunch specials over there. Stop it and see City Cafe. CityCafeBR.net is where you can find them. We appreciate Jamie Howard for stopping by here. Get over and see them where good friends meet at City Cafe, corner of O'Neill and George O'Neill. As we said, daily lunch specials, brunch on Sunday. It is the spot, man. Squeaky Miranda, Cody Miranda, especially during basketball season. You're always over there talking hoop. They love the game. City Cafe, CityCafeBR.net. We'll talk a little New Orleans Saints with our. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Hit the comments as we appreciate you starting your day with us. Give me 30 seconds. Be right back with Underhill. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, powered and driven by Go Chevrolet. Check out our friends over there at Go Chevrolet in Laplace, Louisiana for their new cars and for used car lot over here in Baton Rouge, as they're the best in the business. Stop in and see Nick and Lee and the entire crew over at Go Chevrolet. One thing we hadn't talked about, we talked a little bit about it at the front of the show, dominated by recruiting today, obviously, is that Urban Meyer, 13 games into his NFL life, has been fired. Wild.
Good riddance.
Why at midnight did we find out about that?
It's 8:20.
You know what? I think Shah Khan was just like, that's it. I've had enough. Get this guy out of here. The kickers are bashing him in public. I mean, kickers are going to Sports Center saying that he kicked his leg, calling him expletives.
If the kicker feels like he has that range to do that, man.
Dude, like, I mean, obviously the story is 100% true. He's not going to come out and say, like, there's no benefit. He's retired. He's not there anymore. He's a former Jacksonville kicker.
Absolutely.
So, like,
didn't Herb cut him?
What is the what's the benefit for that? Like, he's not going to go out there.
Just a pylon. I wonder if it was Shah Khan like calling the guy and say, "Go ahead and release that story now."
Oh, because it was in the preseason. They probably wrote it, months ago.
Sure.
New Orleans Saints last weekend get back into the winning column, 30-9 as they dominate the Jets. It was great to see. Is Alvin Kamara any good at football or not?
He's okay.
I mean, this guy.
He's all right.
He's a total game changer. They will play in Tampa on Sunday Night Football this week against Brady, Gronk, and the Bucks. Here to talk about it is the best in the business. Our good friend missed him yesterday with National Signing Day, but bringing him back here is Nick Underhill from NewOrleans.football. That's the site. Make sure that you are subscribed and subscribed over there as they publish great content. YouTube station is up where the podcast goes up at NewOrleans.football. You want the best on the Saints? You want the latest on the Saints? NewOrleans.football is the only site. Good morning, buddy. How are you? How surprised or what do you make of the Urban Meyer NFL experiment after 13 games and he gets his pink slip?
Yeah, I was a little worried you guys were going to bump me into the transfer portal. Look, the thing with Urban, and this is easy to say now, but even at the time, like when they hired him, one of the first things he started talking about, like he's on there talking about like their facilities and stuff, and just people in the league were already sending like mocking texts and calls and comments. Then just that's college stuff. He didn't really understand the NFL culture at all, and I think he thought he could go in there and. The quote yesterday, like, I'm the head ball coach, like, dude, you can't do that in the NFL. These are, there's guys on that team that are 35 years old with, kids that are at the age where they're thinking about going to college. Like, you can't talk to people like that. They're grown adults that are millionaires. Like, that's just not how you treat people. That you just can't have that dictatorship type mentality. And, look, I think there's probably going to be a lot of like stuff that comes out about him now. I mean, this is the stuff that was coming out while he was active. Imagine now that nobody has any reason to fear him. And I've heard stuff over the years just from his assistants at Ohio State and Florida, just about how he preached culture, and then they knew he's out here doing the stuff, and he's telling them, family first. If I ever hear anything about you and your families, you're out. Like you can't do that, and have this double standard. So I mean, it's not a surprise. I mean, I bet he'll land at a college, and I bet he'll do good at a college at some point. If his health's okay or whatever he's going to say is going on with him. But,
I like it.
I think he'll be back at some point. But I mean, this was a absolute disaster. And that owner in Jacksonville, I know he's a good businessman. He has the right perspective, but he's not off to a good start in his tenure there.
Yeah, he swung and missed on Meyer for sure.
Seems like he was exposed a little bit.
I wonder how much collateral damage Meyer did to his reputation overall. Because I'm with you. I think that there's too many athletic directors within college football that see Meyer as a commodity that's going to take a swing on him. But he's got to have lost a ton of respect from the players' angle after seeing how the NFL really exposed him. Alvin Kamara was back after 4 weeks off last week. Nick, and it is hard to really describe his greatness and how good of a football player he is. I thought the full package was on display last week, and he showed it all. The speed, the power, the ability to run away from people, the ability to catch the football. Are we watching Alvin Kamara in his prime right now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Look, I think, it stands out even more because you have that stretch, that 4-game stretch where he's not on the field, and the offense is so barren right now without him. Not having him stood out, and then him coming back, I think, stood out even more. And it just makes it so easy to see what he is and just how spectacular he is.
literally like a superstar on a team with no other superstars on offense right now. Outside of offensive linemen, Armstead is as good as it gets. But it's the skill positions and running back, they have nothing besides him. And when he's out there, I mean, it's just a viable game plan. Give the ball to Alvin. He can lead you to a victory. And, you don't want to extrapolate anything from a game against the Jets because it's a game against the Jets, and they look like a team that has lost 10 games, and they were doing 10 loss, team stuff. And I just don't think they played very well, and I don't think beating up on them, really proves anything. But even early in the season, like this is how they were winning games. It was give the ball to Alvin, block, play defense, and it's a winning formula when you have a guy that good. And it's going to be tough for them to win enough games to get into the playoffs. But if they are going to win any games, this is the way that they're going to have to play these games moving forward. And I think it's playing good defense, giving the ball to Alvin, finding ways to not have to throw the ball more than 25 times. I think if you're out there asking Taysom Hill to throw you to a victory, you're probably not going to end up with that victory. He just hasn't shown the ability to do that at any point during the last 2 years. But he is a quarterback when you have a lead. He can hopefully help you protect it. He tried to fumble away a couple times, but I think he can protect the lead well enough. So, I mean, really, they're just going to have to lean on Alvin, and he is. He's outstanding. I mean, he's not going to win the MVP, get any consideration for anything like that. But I think, if you're really talking about the word value, I mean, he's showing you what he means to the team. And I think he means more to the Saints than anybody else means to any other team. And that's just really kind of, the fact that they sort of mismanaged the roster at other positions, and then the quarterback gets hurt. But right now, I think he means more to the Saints than any player means to any other team.
Yeah, it was pretty evident last Sunday in just bringing him back. He's the type of player that when he's playing like that, he could single-handedly like beat Tampa Bay on Sunday night, right? Like, I mean, when he's playing right, even on a team like New Orleans that doesn't give him a lot of help, he can carry that team to a win over that type of squad. Correct? Do you believe that?
I mean, if they get to an early lead, I think that they can run well enough to protect the lead, and the defense plays well enough to allow that to be a viable option. So, I mean, I think their offensive game plan has to be something similar to that. And it really has been, throughout the whole season. Even the Green Bay game, like that was like the high-end version of type of game plan with Jameis throwing 5 touchdowns. But they still weren't trying to throw the ball more than 25 times in those games. And it was really just Alvin's the best player on this team. Get the ball to Alvin. Let him find a way to help us win these games. And that's what they were doing. And he has proven it against good teams. I do think against Tampa Bay at some point you're going to have to throw because they're going to score points. Unless the defense, finds a way to have like a really great day. And they have in other games against Brady, they seem to play him really well. They seem to be the only team in the league that can pull him into throwing interceptions and making bad decisions. If they can find a way to do that, it is a viable game plan to just kind of sit on that lead, give it to Alvin, and let him grind it out. And I mean, it really has to be a viable game plan because that's really the only way they can win these games. Like, who are they throwing the ball to right now? Like, Nick Van Nett has played decently, but if he's one of the first names you're mentioning, like
you're in trouble.
Raekwon Smith, Nick Van Nett, you better find a way to get the ball to Alvin and find a way to make that work.
Right.
How is Taysom's finger? I mean, it seemed like he was throwing the ball okay. I mean, it probably affected him on some throws, but they didn't really throw anything downfield. Is his finger improving, staying the same, getting worse?
I think it's it probably just kind of is what it is at this point. You just have to find a way to manage it. He's going to have to keep it splinted. I think 8 weeks or something like that since he didn't opt for surgery. So I think what you're seeing is just kind of what you're going to get out of him. He's got to kind of live with it. I don't necessarily think it was a huge issue on his throws. Even in the game after that happened, like he came out and hit a couple throws down the field. I thought his poor throws were more a result of a bad decision. The fumble last week where on the screen where it went backwards on him, he said it caused a little bit of an issue. Peyton seemed to think it was maybe something else. He said he needed to lotion his hands and not have dry fingers. So I don't know if it was just kind of like
he needed to soak.
He needed the Drew Brees.
He's a Mormon.
The Drew Brees lick.
That's a Will Wade watching the arm length on the on the referees for the tip type stat.
Get the Jergens.
Man. But Peyton is kind of, he said it's always a little bit of an adventure with him with ball security. I think that's true. I mean, he's had a lot of fumbles the last couple of years. But I think, overall, I think he can manage it. him not throwing down the field, I think it's probably a good thing. And I think that's probably a symptom of being ahead and having a lead. I don't think you really want him pushing it too much. And we've seen over time, you know, those throws, he can hit them, but they aren't necessarily his forte, and you're kind of putting the ball at risk there. So this week, again, he might have to hit a couple of those, and they might be forced into some of those situations where he's got to push it a little bit more. But if they can find a way to get out to an early lead and avoid that, I mean, it's their best shot at winning.
Is Peyton okay? Is his health okay? I think there were some rumors around some COVID stuff.
So yesterday he got tested. He wasn't positive. He didn't attend practice. He stayed home. They said he was under the weather. Not a whole lot of detail on that as far as the forthcoming nature from the team about why he's sick or what's going on. But he was negative on the COVID test, so I assume he'll keep testing. And if he's negative again, maybe he's out there at practice today. But I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I mean, I don't have any insight here. I'm just saying you look at the numbers throughout the NFL and how it's spreading, and it seems like everybody has it right now in the league. So I mean, it's something that I think you just kind of got to keep it on your radar until there's ample reason for it to not be on your radar. If there were some reason he couldn't coach, I mean, I think Ryan Nielsen would step into that head coaching role. He led the meeting yesterday. I think they'd be okay on offense. I mean, Pete Carmichael's been around forever. He knows how to call a game for the Saints. And then, defensively, Dennis Allen he can handle all that. So I don't think it would be like as bad as earlier in the season when they had lost everybody. I mean, obviously Peyton's very important, but like if he's not at the facility, I think he can still be involved in game planning and all that. Like we've learned enough as a society that when you can't be there as a physical presence, like the virtual presence, I think we've all found out how to make that work perfectly. So I think he could still be involved in all this stuff leading up if for some reason he isn't at the facility. But, yesterday it sounded like they expected him to be back. So I don't think it's going to be a huge thing. But, I mean, it's something you just got to keep an eye on and just see to make sure nothing else pops up.
I thought he was embarrassed after watching the debut of home team and seeing Kevin James.
I thought he was trying to stay in to catch the series.
Like, trying to get in touch with Netflix. Like, we got to start this thing over, right? I mean, have you seen this, Nick? Have you seen home team?
Yeah. I have seen the trailer. I mean, I'm not, looking for the release date for the movie. It's not something that I'm eager to spend 90 minutes watching. I feel like I'm gonna have to watch it just to be aware of kind of what's going on with my job. And I mean, I gotta say that it feels like one of the worst things that's ever happened to me because I gotta watch the movie. And B, like every time I tweet something about Sean Payton now, like I get pictures of like Kevin James and GIFs, like just an endless stream of them. And like I don't want to have to look at this man for like 2 hours a day every day, and it's just being forced upon me. So I'm not very happy with the Netflix team right now.
Sean had to greenlight that,
absolutely.
Right?
Shows you the world of Hollywood right now, man. It's down. It's a down state. It is a down place.
Name, image, and likeness.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick. We will talk next week. Enjoy Sunday night in Tampa.
Yeah, take it easy.
All right, man. There is Nick Underhill checking in from New Orleans Football as A-Bear Specialty Meats brings you the Jordy Culotta Show every day. A-Bear Specialty Meats located in Baton Rouge, in Robert's Grocery Store, in Kenilworth Shopping Center. Stop in and pick up your entire Christmas menu. You stressing about the family getting in town next week and you don't know what you're going to cook, you don't have enough to cook, it's all good. Let A-Bears take care of it for you. Just get over to abearsmarkets.com and you can pick up one of 3 holiday specials that's ready for you. All you got to do is click and wait on the order to arrive. It's that simple over at A-Bears. And remember, it is gift card season, so if you're thinking about employee gift ideas or you are thinking about how to hand away a couple of presents for the season, stop in and grab a A-Bears gift card. Great value. For every $100 that you spend over at A-Bears, they're giving you $30 in gift cards as well. If you see me around town, ask me for gift cards. I got a pocket full of them. From A-Bears. abearsmeats.com.
Did you hide some around town?
A little bit.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What
I
do you
thought
like
he
a
did like a
scavenger
little
hunt?
Easter egg. Scavenger hunt. Go to this
Hide 'em.
location, drop a couple of
Give you
hints.
clues, drop
Keep your eyes peeled out there.
X marks the spot.
Keep your eyes peeled. Little NIL deals for you people.
Just go
out
to the
there.
Ross shop. It's probably there.
That's right.
Relief med.
Relief med. All right, so we appreciate Nick Underhill for stopping by here on the Jordy Culotta Show. When's LSU basketball back in action? Saturday?
Is it today?
Saturday?
The women's
Or
on
is
the
it Saturday?
Hundy last
Yeah.
night.
Yes.
Jeez.
Is it today or Saturday?
Saturday, I think.
They're playing on the road though, right? At Louisiana Tech, or is it at home?
In Shreveport. I don't know. Hang on. Before. Okay, look at the SID over there. Jordan Peck. Let us know.
Oh, you got good with the kit, man.
We
got to worry about their postman.
Oh yeah, apparently that guy's pretty solid.
A beast.
I know we don't talk much about Pels basketball, but dude, did you see that buzzer beater last night?
Oh my god!
I did not see it.
Wow,
that was awesome.
So they're beating the Thunder, right?
Yes.
The Thunder was a Thunder.
Lipscomb.
There we go. Didn't know that. I thought Louisiana Tech was next. I was way off.
They play Tech soon.
So, what was I saying? Oh,
Pelicans.
So, the Thunder go down and they make it through with like 1.9 seconds left. Like but they think they won the game on the game winner. The ball comes in. This dude chucks it from Devontae Graham, right?
Yeah.
Graham
like
chucks it
80
from like the other free throw line, banks it in. Buzzer beater.
That was amazing.
Over.
Yes.
Fourth quarter, like stuff that you see in like high school when the guy just chucks it down and makes it. Made it.
It was
full
crazy.
length buzzer beater. It was sick.
Wow.
That
Yeah, it was
celebration. I mean, how much fun is that when that happens?
Because you get to go home. You're
Oh
in
my
Oklahoma
God.
City. You thought you have to
Yes.
sack up for overtime. You're like,
And that's the
I want to do
Yes.
this,
dude.
Yes.
Did you play basketball growing up at all? You played basketball.
Yeah.
So like at the end of the game, or quarter or whatever, when the clock's running down, everybody wants that ball because like, hey, we can't make it there. Let's just chuck up. Everybody wants to do the half court shot. This guy got to do it and he went in.
Saturday in Bossier versus Louisiana Tech.
There we
Knew
go.
it.
Yeah,
See,
we
I
go.
knew it.
Yeah.
What Lipscomb? What is
Good
job.
that?
What happened
Next
to
home game?
Next home game.
What is
Lipscomb.
Lipscomb?
I have no
Where
idea.
even
It's
are
in
they?
Nashville.
I thought I would be the only one that didn't know, so
They're in
y'all don't
Na-
know either.
No, they're in Nashville.
Oh, you do?
Really?
Okay.
Good pull.
I think
Yeah.
they've had
Let's
some
go.
solid baseball teams.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We had a guy that played for us
Kenny
transfer
Lofton
there.
Jr. Kenneth Lofton Jr. For Louisiana Tech is must-see television for the Bulldogs.
It is like
Maybe a miss for LSU.
it's
Like the more you watch him play, he's got some big baby quality to him, bro, for sure.
He's no Efton Reed. I would say
No.
they're built a little bit differently, but they are both very effective in how they pursue their basketball game in the paint.
Yeah.
It's
He's
just
got
a different
game.
way to do it.
He's got game.
He has the post moves that he has because it's like Big Baby, right? You have to develop the skill set that you have when you're. How tall would you think this guy is?
He's probably baby size. He's probably like 6'7".
He might be a little rounder.
He's probably
Is
a
that what
little
Big Baby
rounder.
was? 6'7"?
I don't know if
They said he
I
was
don't know if-
6'9",
I don't know.
but-
No way.
No way.
No way.
They like listed him at that, obviously.
I thought he was like 6'5".
I don't know he went 6'5", but I don't know if he was 6'7" and a half.
Damn,
you know what I mean? Like he wasn't.
Good for him for making an NBA career out of
Absolutely,
that.
dude. His
He was 6'7", playing below the rim.
his footwork is the most elite footwork I have ever seen on an athlete. Just when you combine size, mass,
Yeah.
just
I know they talked about wanting to play offensive tackle, right? Because
but you know what? He just mentally he wasn't a football player.
Right.
I mean, he legitimately was a big baby. I mean, like that was.
You
Him and John Brady's back and forth were. Now I get it why they call you Big Baby. You don't fucking stop crying all fucking day. I mean, shit, Big Fuck Butch. Why'd they say they called him Big Baby? Because of Shaq? That's some bullshit. Big fucker don't stop crying all day. Get him a fucking diaper and a fucking bottle, Big Baby. Shit. I mean, like, Coach, fuck you. Shut up. Oh, here we go. Now we gonna play. Now he's gonna play. Look, he's gonna play now. I mean, it was so.
He's playing through tears.
So just,
Oh my
man,
God.
fuck you, Coach. Dude. Look at Kenneth Lofton, bro.
Wow. Wow.
Player.
God, he is
Player.
big.
Player.
Thick.
And how tall did you say he was?
I
didn't.
don't know how Lofton is, but
didn't.
Baby was around 6'7".
This dude is just around
Maybe,
the rebound.
maybe.
He's a big boy.
It's awesome. He's good though. He was on Team USA with
Yeah, he was on
With Ace Wolf.
with Adam
really?
Miller, and Miller said that he was like the best skilled player on the team.
Really? Is he
Wow.
fast?
No,
no.
he
He's
probably
not
got great hands
fast,
and
but
good.
he's
Yeah.
got good footwork where he can break you down. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Like
You
he'll
wouldn't think
have
it.
you grabbing air.
The big fundamental.
He is must watch television.
Yeah,
You know,
I
like if
gotta
he is
see that.
playing.
What time on Saturday are they playing?
Damn it, Mikey.
God,
Damn, they're
Mikey,
gonna-
you can't ask
they-
me that
Question.
question.
Well,
Christ.
they're gonna be playing. They're
Know
gonna
that
be.
they play Lipscomb next week for God's sakes.
They're fighting against the NFL. I just want to make
6
sure.
o'clock.
Okay. All right. That's
Saturday
probably,
games this week in the
That's
NFL.
probably in between. Isn't there Saturday games this year?
My
Saturday,
favorite,
Sunday,
bro.
but you have to. That big bitch is back. COVID Omicron
Yeah,
is
no.
coming. There's like
Dude,
95 people out.
They are gonna. I'm in the playoffs of fantasy, and of course, this is what happens. I'm gonna get.
What's
screwed.
happening?
It's
Someone
it.
told me yesterday that she heard whisperings of another lockdown coming,
Oh.
and
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
not
trying
going.
not to
They
hear
won't-
that.
There's no way. They
I don't
can
think
do
you
that.
can do it
There
again.
won't
I mean,
no
I
way.
think they would do it differently, but I certainly think
There
they're
won't
gonna
be a
try.
lockdown. No way.
I don't think this one is as deadly. It's just more contagious.
Yeah, it's super contagious, I guess.
It's a
Jeff
fast
Marson, Brady is a great analyst. He's the best.
He is.
He is the
good.
best.
I'm glad they brought him back.
That people, I don't know if people understand how hard of an assignment basketball color is on the radio. Like, there is a 3-second window that you have to paint a very clear picture to somebody who is not watching and have them understand what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
hard to do. I mean, like, people think, like, you hear it,
It
you
happens
hear
so
Brady
fast.
do it, and you're like, man, he's good at this. This sounds very easy. But if you get in that spot, I mean, I have called basketball games and have had a color commentator next to me that 3 possessions will go up and down the floor, and they're like,
Boom goes the dynamite.
I mean, we'll go to break, and I'll be like, I'm going to need you to fucking wake up, bro. You know what I mean?
Enough of the,
Like, the
ain't
game
playing.
has started. I'm going to need you to talk about what's going on.
Ain't playing
I mean,
today.
they'll be like, man, I know the game. I just can't. I
It's
can't
too
call it this
fast. It
fast. I mean,
moves so
I
fast.
want to be able to describe it and talk about it. You know, I mean, Brady paints this, and him and Chris Blair play tennis. You know, play volley back and forth
Very
as
well.
good as. I mean, Blair will hand it off to him, and Brady will hand it right back. They don't step over each other. They don't talk over each other. It's a very hard thing to do in media, radio, podcasting, whatever it is, to try and describe something and paint a picture to somebody who's not there, and you don't know if they're watching. A lot of people don't watch when they listen to the radio. I mean, some people
And
put the
some of the
headphones,
audience
Well, you can
does.
and
tell-
some people do. So you got to make sure when you
Yeah.
do describe it, they're like, what is he
Yeah.
looking at?
And you can tell who's like the chemistry between, like, if chemistry's off, like the more you work with someone, the more the guy can like throw him some layups and kind of get him loose and in the rhythm of how the
alley-oop.
game's going, and like, hey, here's here, I'm just gonna give you this really nice easy bounce pass. You go ahead, talk about this. There's a dead ball. You can kind
Right.
of get going, and then you kind of get in the flow of it, because like starting and doing that stuff, sometimes that's the hardest thing to do.
Well, Brady is an incredible. I think what he has done is he has shown people how bright of a basketball mind he is, because he talks about it very easily. He almost can break it down to an elementary level where everybody understands it. And
It feels like he's watching it in slow motion.
it does. It's very easy for him. You can tell that. I mean, it's almost as if an artist is painting a picture, and you watch it happen. You're like, it's unbelievable how you just
Get from
so
A to B.
easily just get this. And it is. I tell him that all the time, because I don't think he even knows how hard it is, just because he's just kind of living. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
he's just sitting down and talking basketball.
Because I'd imagine how fast it happens trying to call it, how fast it is as a coach. You're probably
Yeah.
like, dude, it used to be 10 times faster
Yeah.
than this, when you're on the bench going, oh my God, timeout. Like, I
Right.
don't know what just
Well, yeah, I
happened.
mean, you can see, like, you can anticipate things happening before they happen. So, like, you know, based off of a look, or based off of some whatever defense they have out, or the press, or whatever lineups they have in the game, like, you kind of, him being around the game and being so knowledgeable about basketball, he just kind of like, okay, this is probably what's gonna happen, and then it happens, and they talk about it.
Hardest sport to call? What, hockey and then basketball? I think hockey is the
God.
hardest play-by-play. I've watched very little of it, but like in the Frozen Four, or
I think it's very similar to
finals,
basketball.
It's
Yeah.
so much faster
Well,
because the quick changes.
Yeah.
It's the
It's
the
the
line
names and
change,
the
it's
rosters.
line
Yeah.
changes,
They never
too.
stop talking.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, and you can't see the thing. You can't see the
No.
puck.
I mean, they'll change
you
4
really
guys
can't.
out at a time, 5 guys out at a time, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you gotta say, hey, this guy,
My
this guy, this
the
guy.
first basketball game I ever called on the radio,
Oh,
I called the opposite teams. I had the roster for each team, and like when the other team would touch the ball, I was calling the roster,
Color-coded,
and somebody's grandmother
oh.
came down and said, like, or no, somebody's mom came down and said the grandmother was listening at home, and you're screwing everything up. Like, you're
You
not
had
getting
no
the names
clue.
right. You're not calling the right teams. And I was like, huh?
Grandmother.
I was like, I was so confused, because I was like, you're not listening to the game. Like, what are you even
Right,
talking
right.
about? And I looked down and I remember, like, thinking, like, because I kind of caught what she said, and it hit me like the wave.
That's the worst feeling in the
and
world.
I could feel the blood rush out of my face. Like I could feel my like it was coming pale white.
You started sweating.
My heart was beat. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
How long had it been?
Palm, it was halftime.
Oh,
It was halftime. I called half a game.
So what'd you do though? How'd you change? How'd you fix it?
I never acknowledged it. I just came
it's
back
probably
and just
smart.
picked up like
Yeah, that
kind of
was the
like
right way to
as
do it.
if I didn't even know.
Wow.
But I mean, my voice was quivering.
it's
during,
hard to get back on the saddle.
It was hard to get
that
back
is
up.
tough.
It was hard to get back on the saddle for sure. I mean,
Oh
it was
my
like
God.
we just limped in. You know what I mean? Like we just
Wow.
Yeah,
we
we're
limped
back.
home. I mean, and that'll do it here from University High today. The Cubs won the game,
Or did they?
I need a drink.
You just gotta know.
and I may not have a job. I hope everybody has a good day. Well, we may or may not be back with you on Tuesday night.
That's tough.
You know what I
man.
mean? Like
That's
just
hard.
it's just.
That's hard.
I mean, it was brutal. It was brutal, man. It was, and I remember our station manager was like, "Okay, that was not the first experiment that we were looking for."
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
you didn't have anybody in your ear. You didn't have.
no, I mean, because it was my idea. You know what I mean? Like, we got to start calling basketball on the radio. I can sell that. I know I can sell it. You know what I mean? We just need to go do a game of the week. We show up. We do it a lot like football. The setup's easy. I got a guy who'll do color with me, and we just show. We do the whole lot. I'll sell it. What do you need for the airtime? X amount. Cool. I'll get that for you. We keep everything on top.
I love that it
Just
was
forgot.
your idea.
Yeah, just forgot to get the rosters.
What'd y'all think?
Yeah, that was great first half, right?
Oh boy.
That's how I felt when I was tweeting at SEC.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's how I felt after
When you
that.
were
Like,
tweeting
oh
what?
my god, when I was trying to keep up and live tweet Coach O and couldn't understand what he was saying.
She said
yeah.
he was predicting victory. He was, he was guaranteed
Couldn't
wins.
understand what he was saying. I was like,
Well, I ripped my shirt off. That was the funniest press conference of Ogeron's reign, I thought.
When
He knew he was cooked.
Yeah.
He knew he was done. And I'm not even talking about the last one. I'm talking about the one going into the Texas A&M
A&M
game
game.
after the Arkansas game when he was asked about A&M and how big of a game was it. And he took a step back from the podium, stepped back to the microphone and said, well, I ripped my shirt off.
Already.
Like, kind of like, people were like, oh, okay, yeah, man, it's a huge game. This is
I wish you'd have ripped his
this
shirt
is
off
huge.
after.
You know what I
It's a
mean?
rip your shirt off game. LSU's all in.
Wow.
I wish you'd have done it on the field after the game.
I've already ripped my shirt off.
Yeah, I do too.
That was what I wish. I wish his shirt came ripped off on the field.
Yeah.
Do you
That
think
would have
he?
been great.
oh man.
Do you think he has to do like the trick is you put like a little hole
Oh,
in.
you have to.
We just
Yeah.
get a little slit at
You
the
do,
top.
yeah.
Little
Yeah,
slit.
you have
In
to.
fact, if you see the Eli Manning promo, you can see the cut.
Ah.
You can actually see the
Because I'd
cut.
imagine he
That's
could
so
if he
good.
needed to.
No. Not,
Another
but you're not gonna
failure on
get-
your part,
Like, if
Panansky.
you had to rip that off.
Yeah,
of
but
you
you're
right
not gonna
now,
get the
could
you're not gonna get,
Get
the
the good
good
rip.
rip.
Yeah, you're not going to get the
Well, it
straight
would
rip.
happen, just like
It would
the-
probably kind of go a little. It would probably come over here.
Yeah.
You'd have to get it
Beyond
back on
that,
track.
Yeah, you're
It's
not
the
gonna get
neck that gets you.
Yeah.
This is what's hard. This
Yeah,
part,
that's
if you go
thicker.
underneath,
That's the
you
top
might
you
be
got to.
okay.
That's the part you got to break through.
That
Yeah.
shirt, by the way.
think-
I can't even take you
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah, cat daddy.
What are they? Why are they Indian cats?
I don't know. They're gambling cats.
Gambling
they're
cats?
they're on the Navajo Trail, dude.
What's the bet?
Awesome.
What is the bet?
I don't know. You tell me what the bet is.
NBA?
It's
Are we
hard
ready
to bet
start?
NBA.
Yeah,
It is-
NFL tonight. NFL
It's
tonight.
hard to bet NBA. They
I
tell me that
can't-
the NBA, the bets are the totals. Like everybody who bets NBA says, don't mess with the number. Always bet the total.
Well, it's kind of in the same vein because what you're trying to do, you're trying to figure out. It's kind of a little bit like baseball. When it comes to the NBA, you got to figure out what city they're in, what road trip they're on, because the
Where were they
Miami
last
flu is very real.
Where were they last night?
And so you kind of that's why the total makes it easier
What's the
because
total? Like the total score at the
Right,
end?
like
Yeah,
a,
both
a
teams
combination
combined
of the
points.
total,
the
total
oh,
points.
that's all. That's what you bet.
So like,
that's one bet. Like
Yeah.
over under, like over a certain
Yeah.
amount of points or under a certain amount of points, but you can still bet spread.
life's too short to bet unders.
I agree 100%.
I mean,
the only good thing about an under is you're winning until you're not.
or unless you take Trent Johnson's teams.
That's
Trent
what we have to
Johnson's team is
find. I wonder if they're
undefeated.
playing.
Cal State Northridge. I mean, I say that is the bet every time they play.
Let's do it. Let's ride it.
Let's bet the under, and then let's get
Okay.
to the end of the season and see against the spread, against
we
the
did.
number, how we did against Johnson's team. And I mean, he owes us money for as amount as we as much as we lost in watching his teams play at LSU. For God's sakes, can we cash in on Trent Johnson at all?
Can we get some money back?
Can we get
Recoup?
something back in return? A little return on investment, Trent.
But it's hard to bet. I would obviously throw out a Thursday night pick, but with the like I said, the Omicron out there, you don't know who's in, who's out.
Omicron.
So I don't know I don't know which way to go with that thing. It's a hard day to be a gambler whenever you really want to gamble. I would say under maybe.
Who's
Easy.
playing tonight?
I have no idea.
Well, Thursday Night Football is always kind of like an under thing because one team usually plays terrible and one team usually plays great.
And it's a 4-day turnaround.
Right.
That is.
We got Chiefs Chargers, boys. That's over all day.
It's Chiefs Chargers tonight. Oh, what a game!
But I'm going to take the under.
Did you see that Herbert pass last week?
Yeah. Did you see the Matt Stafford?
Did you see the dime he threw?
Yes. Across the field. They have plays in their playbook set up for that where he rolls right and throws
absolutely.
left.
The whole
Absolutely.
they're talking about the broadcast.
field.
The whole field is available to them.
2 strongest armed quarterbacks in the league tonight.
Yep.
Maybe Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh Allen is the strongest.
Josh Allen, the strongest.
I think Josh
So this
Allen,
is probably 2 and 3 tonight. I mean, Mahomes and
Mahomes,
Herbert.
but
I mean, they're flick of the wrist type guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
Matt Stafford's in there too. I think
Stafford's in there.
I think those two are the top.
Cam?
Cam
Not
Newton's
anymore.
Not
Not
anymore.
anymore. The whole body's gone, dude.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray can rip it.
Kyler Murray's got a cannon. But I think the top 4 would be those 4 that we said. I love Matt Stafford, man. I think he's awesome.
He's deserved this moment. I hope he
Amen.
doesn't go full Stafford and
Amen.
there it's
And go
just-
Georgia.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think it wasn't Stafford. What do you mean full Stafford?
Just
Well, he gets a lot
the
of-
Georgia days. They were
Yeah.
very over. They were loaded.
Yeah,
Coach, that team, his junior year
No, I know.
may be the best team never to win it. AJ Green.
Well, the Miami
Was
team.
that 13? Well, no, that was 7.
Who was his?
8.
Was his running back Chubb?
No, it was he went to Denver, dove over the pile. He did the Sean Marino.
No, Sean Moreno.
No, Sean.
And AJ Green, Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
I mean, they were
Loaded on defense.
Remember they
too,
threw
Was
the
that when they had Bakari Rambo on defense?
Yep.
Or was that after them?
they threw the parade.
for signing day.
No. For preseason number 1 team in the
That's what it
country.
was.
Oh, wow.
They had an on-campus parade when they were named preseason
That's
number
tough.
1.
Tough tickets.
Anybody who had bet the future on that had to be feeling lonely that day. Like, this is the jinx of all jinxes. These guys are celebrating the parade. They're having the parade before the
They did the
season.
Heat. They pulled the Miami Heat maneuver where you just, the big 3 where you try to, try everybody out there.
Was that the team that Jay Lee threw the pick 6 on the first play of the game?
Yes, I believe so.
That was-
Didn't even get in my seat yet. Was walking
Yeah.
up the aisle. Didn't get to sit down. And it boom. Was it?
That was a day game in Tiger Stadium where
was.
it felt like it was
Who
like
was the middle
35-6 for them.
Yes. Who did he throw it to?
Was it Thomas Davis? It wasn't Thomas
No, it
Davis.
wasn't Thomas Davis. It was, but he started digging a grave
Yeah.
on the sidelines right after that. And I was like, I sit on the east side, and I just watched him do it. I was like, we could probably pack this thing up if y'all
It's
want.
over, boys. It's over. Bring the buses.
Do we want
Yeah.
to talk about Urban? I know you kind of prefaced
We
it.
talked a little bit about Herb. A little bit
Well,
about
we brought
Herb.
it up, but we didn't really get into it.
I don't know, I'm so happy when people like that get exposed.
Was it Curran? Ronnie Curran?
No, it was a big time guy. I'll look it up.
What's the deal with the kicker, the former kicker, though?
I think
Why?
I think that somebody
The guy
within the
kicking?
organization
Yeah.
told him to go public because
sure.
they were trying to get him out.
Absolutely. Well, I just read his quote. It certainly wasn't as hard as he could have done it, but it certainly wasn't a love tap.
Yeah, but
When
you
he
don't.
kicked him?
That. Yeah, he
Yeah.
said when he kicked him.
It is a little soft for that guy to come out with that story, but I think
It's
that
weird,
somebody
it was a
paid
5
him.
out of 10 on the pain scale, which is
Well, I think
I
I think
mean-
it was more about it wasn't about the
Jeez.
how hard he kicked him. I think it was more
It's
about
that
like,
he
hey,
kicked him.
this guy just got here,
Yeah.
and he's gonna come in here and act like that to grown ass men who are professionals. Like that's
Yeah.
there's no place for that in the
The
game.
part that will always be so confusing to me about Urban in this experiment is, Herb, what did you think you were getting into?
Right.
Like, you took over a squad who was, would they win 2 games last year?
Mm-hmm.
They had the first pick in the draft, and they're so far away from winning. For you to play this up like it's so stressful and can't deal, like, what did you think you were getting into?
I think this is exactly what he wanted. He got the money. Like, what's his buyout? I feel like he's going to get paid and be able. He's done this everywhere he's gone. I don't know why people are surprised. Except this, for the first time, he just tanked immediately. Like, it was very well known that this was not going well. He goes out in public. He just wanted the money. He knew he was. I'm sure the first day he walked in that locker room and saw, oh my God, dude, these people don't respect me at all.
Dude,
I'm going back to college. Give me my
Don't
money.
you
Get
think
me out
that
of here.
Meyer's got generational money in the bank already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you think that? I mean,
Right.
do we agree that?
Yeah.
So, if you'd have planted this scenario to Meyer 8 months ago and said, we're going to get you an NFL guy. Look, here's your options. You can go back to TV. You can go into the college game because there's about to be a lot of big-time jobs open up. USC is going to be open. LSU is going to be open. Hell, you could go back to Florida if you wanted
Oregon's
to.
open.
Oregon's open.
Notre Dame's open.
Which he has said was his dream job.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can take this NFL gig and we'll pay you, let's say they're paying him $15 million. that he's made $15 million for a year of work, and they're paying him, they paid him 8 to work, and they're paying him 7 to walk. And you get to stack 10 more million into your bank account, but you're going to lose all of your credibility within football, like from the player standpoint. Like, you're going to be exposed. Really, nobody's going to fall for your bullshit anymore. Nobody's going to buy into your family man crap. You are going to be put on Front Street, and people are going to make fun of you. You are going to become the butt of jokes. You're a laughing stock. If he would sign up for that,
he wouldn't have.
There's no way.
He's got
too much ego.
Oh, yeah.
He's got too much pride. And I think that Urban Meyer is now cooked. I agree
with you.
I don't believe
I agree with you.
that I do believe that there's an athletic director out there that's going to say, look, man, the football program means too much. It makes too much money. He's as much of a guarantee as we can find. Just hire him.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's a guarantee anymore.
I don't know if he is or not either, but there's an AD out there that says my job's on the line, and I'm handing it over to Urban Meyer because he's done it.
If Liberty will hire Hugh Freeze,
Amen.
there's a
Urban
job
Meyer
for Urban
is going
Meyer.
to be shit. He might
Dude,
get
run it back to Bowling Green, dude. Where it all started.
He could be anywhere when you think about that scenario.
But
I do agree with you what you said. Even now, college football players, even like on official visits, there's going to be like some dads in some living rooms and be like, bro, what the fuck was going on down in Jacksonville?
I mean, it's worse than the Nick Saban scenario, right? When he went to Miami, but that was still he had to tuck tail and come back to college. Is with how the picture was painted.
But he didn't have.
He had stories come out. There were some awful stories.
But it wasn't okay. So if you go down the list of what Urban has done when he got to NFL, right? The minute he got there, he started talking about facilities. And he started talking about how he needs to upgrade the facilities. Well, that's a college move, right? We need to upgrade facilities because we're losing the arms race. Then he got fined because he didn't understand the practice schedule. He didn't understand when you can work guys, when you can't, when OTA start, then he gets fined. Then he has all these stories that come out at the beginning of the season. Then that stuff happens in Ohio after he gets blown out. Then he goes on.
Did you mention the strength guy?
What's the strength guy?
He hired the Iowa strength coach who was fired for being a racist.
Right. Blatant racist.
And he brings him to an NFL locker room, and the guys are like, you hired this guy?
Exactly.
We actually know who this is, and we hate him.
Then he goes, all of these other things. Then he goes on to his radio or interview or whatever, and someone asks him about a specific player. And I don't remember the guy's name. And he, being so out of touch with what the fuck is going on in his own program, says, I don't know. I knew we needed to get him more. I think he's been playing a lot more, a few more snaps. We're getting him on the field more. And this man played 0 snaps the game before. 0. That means you don't know anything.
Yeah,
that means you're so out of touch with your guys and what's going on with your program. Like, hey, bro, this isn't the stuff that happened in the season. This happened the minute he was there. So I've never been a huge Urban Meyer fan. He's won, but I'm just so happy that phony ass people get exposed.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, he is exploited. Like his credibility is shot.
I don't think he cares about that at all.
I feel bad. I feel bad for Trevor Lawrence.
What a horrible spot to be in.
As prideful, as egotistical as that guy is, for him to walk into a room of coaches for the next time and all those coaches to be like, "What's up, dude?" You know,
he's just
you can tell the respect is
I
gone.
tell you what, it's gotten so bad. And he's done so much damage to his reputation that Tim Tebow can't even come out and back him anymore.
Yeah.
You haven't heard anything from Tim Tebow. After that incident in Ohio at the bar, he came out, defended his character. Nope, no more.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, when you lose Tim Tebow, that's tough.
Well, I mean, if you're Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's tough.
GoFlow brings you the Jordy Culotta Show every day. GEAUXFlowIV.com. Check them out online. GEAUXFlowIV.com. IV.com. Remember, they offer memberships over there. 3-month, 6-month annual memberships are available. They are Baton Rouge's premier medical spa specializing in IV hydration, treatments with vitamin infusion over at GoFlow IV on Jefferson Highway or online. GEAUXFlowIV.com is where you find them. Appreciate you stopping here and starting your day with us here on this Monday. Make sure to hit that like.
It is not Monday.
Share.
You did just drop a
You
Monday.
said
Monday.
Thursday.
I don't want to go back.
That's how you know.
You just made me panic.
That's how you know this job is great. You never know what day it is.
This week has gone really slow. It's
Flown
not
by.
fun.
But of all the days,
You know,
I thought it was
but
slow.
you know why? This is why I got confused on Monday,
Why?
because I was thinking in my head that I'm going to transition to the new DL plug right here, and that we're going to be live from the new DL on Monday.
You are
Jordan,
really
that
putting the
is
pressure on everybody. I
lot of
love it.
pressure.
I mean, I'm in. Like,
I mean,
I'll
I'm
help.
out of town
I
Friday
feel like
night.
I told y'all not to
To do
say
this.
this.
Yeah, well,
I
you know
said,
what?
Don't
Now
say
it's in the
it, and you
universe.
said it.
That's it.
Because here's
Put
the deal.
pressure on everybody.
As soon as you touch one piece of equipment
That's true.
in here, it's
over.
over.
Yeah,
We're
it's
going
over.
live. So the plan is to gobble up all this equipment tomorrow and take it over to the Noodle. And
a
once it's
doubt.
there,
You got a couple
now
days.
we're in no man's land. Now you better set me a sail for Sunday night or everybody's fucked.
Point of no return.
We don't even have anything to talk about on Sunday. I think we take the night off. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
We'll
we
be live
what
Sunday
do we
night.
have to talk about?
Oh, I'm
I
sure
mean, I'm
some
sure
news will pop.
something's gonna
Dude, are you
happen.
kidding
Something
me?
will happen over the weekend.
I can't believe that.
Something's gonna happen. Talk about basketball. Talk about the
Yeah,
NFL.
we
talk
got our
about-
interviews.
You have Sunday night football, so y'all will be talking on the show during Sunday night football, right?
Yeah, that's what makes it great.
Yeah.
That's what makes it great. We're kind of
Saints
watching a
game
little
will
bit
be
of
on
game.
here, probably. Well, not here. Over there.
Yeah, over there. Do we have the TVs hooked up?
No.
Um,
Not
No,
yet,
we
but
don't.
that takes easy. That's easy.
Not yet.
That's
We
easy.
don't
That's
have
We
easy.
don't even have the
We
electric
don't have
stuff
the
put in.
electrical stuff done. Jordy,
Jordy,
come on.
Well,
it's
he
Monday. We're
said-
live.
Come
He said
on,
it could
Jordy.
be. He said it could be.
Could.
He didn't say we will be.
Could.
Could be.
Live on Monday.
Stop.
from here.
Stop it.
The old deal.
We'll be live on
Please.
Monday somewhere.
somewhere.
Somewhere we'll be
Maybe in the
live.
car. Who knows? Maybe we'll do it in the
Jesus.
car.
We've gone live from UCLA back to my house. We've done all
That's
sorts of
right.
things to be able to make this show work.
That's right.
Adapt or die.
Adapt or die.
Have a good Thursday. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. for our last show at the UDL.
Stop it, Jordy.
Son of a
Wow.
Kid. Stop.
Unbelievable. Tomorrow, we throw the dirt on the grave of the
That
UDL.
is not a definite.
It's happening. It's
Not a
happening.
definite.
All right,
I'm all
enjoy your
for it.
day. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Oh, we'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.